Okay, thank you, Ben. Yes, it is close to your heart, isn't it? Poor old Ben's been slaving away on what I'm about to present, so it's very dear to his heart. Thanks everyone for coming today. What I want to do today is really just to give a bit of an update on a project that many of you in the audience are probably already aware of or seen sort of earlier iterations of. But it's really just to show you where we're at with this process and sort of a bit of a summary of the journey we've been on over the last few years. So I'm going to be talking about trend and condition reporting, and particularly trend and condition reporting at a state scale, which is something that, as I'll talk about as I go through, something that we often find very difficult to do, and we're not alone in finding that difficult. So as for policy and decision making, we often feel that we need better reporting. We need reporting that's comprehensive and shows us how our state is tracking as a whole. How do we get that single picture of what's actually going on? We often aspire to have alignments in our reporting to avoid duplication. No one wants to do anything more than once. How can we actually do something once and use it over and over? But also, how do we make sure that when we're reporting, we're not giving different messages through different processes that we might be doing, or reporting on one thing for one purpose and saying something that's a little bit different for another purpose? And how do we provide a credible point of truth, a sort of single point of truth that's easy to understand? So this is kind of the panacea, the things that we're trying to actually to achieve through reporting. So as I said, we've been on a bit of a journey over the last sort of 5-6 years, I guess, in terms of reporting. We first released some state-based, and we also did some regional scale, but I'm focusing on the state-based today. But we released some state-based reporting related to South Australia's environment back around 2014. We released, I think at that point, 52 report cards on various things. In 2016, we sort of stopped and took stock of what we'd done, undertook a bit of a review, it set a new direction forward, and we're just on the cusp of now releasing a 2018 version of these state-based report cards. So what we're doing with this reporting, we're using best available information. So that may come from wherever it's available. Sometimes it relates to a very strong long-term monitoring program. In the case of something like water, where we've got a very strong state-based water monitoring program, we'll be drawing on that information. In other cases, we're drawing on less robust or less comprehensive data, but we're using the best available. In some cases, we're also drawing on things like citizen science in order to be able to report on these things. And what these cards do is they track the change in the condition in our environment over time. And we've really focused on trying to make them succinct and easy to understand. But they are supported by technical documents which actually show the data that was used to create these cards, the analyses that may have been done. So there is something that sits behind this. So this is what they look like. This release that we're about to do in 2018, we're going to have 43, I think that's the latest number, of report cards, and they are aligned to the themes that are outlined here. And what you can see on each of these cards, I think I have a pointer here, don't go there. Oh, no, I can't point, I'll do it with this. So you can see that the fundamentals of each card is these three things at the top of the strip here. So we report on the trend, and the colour of the report card relates to that trend. So in this case, we're reporting on woody native vegetation, which, by the way, draws on that data that the Minister released or launched this morning. The SA land covers data is what sits behind this particular report card. So in this case, we've got a stable trend, so the colour is blue. If it was getting better, it would be green, and if it was getting worse, it would be red. And that's what the trend is at a state scale. But then you can also see we've broken that down to NRM region scale as well, so you can get that finer resolution. We then also make some assessment about the condition. In this case, you can see actually the condition is unknown, and we state that. And then we also make some assessment about the reliability of the information that sits behind this report card. So I think the key thing here is that we're not hiding anything. If we don't know, we say we don't know. And if we're unconfident in the data, we say that too. So that's the general format of every single one of these 43 report cards follows this same template, if you like. And as I said, very much focusing on easy to understand and that consistency. What then that allows us to do as well is to then easily summarise across all of our themes. So you'll see here we've got, these are not all of the themes that we've got, but this is just a snapshot of them. We've got inland waters, land, coast, River Murray, and then at a glance you can start to get a bit of a sense of a trend, as I said, which is what the colour is, what's actually going on at a state scale. So it captures and displays the changing condition in a way that we've not been able to do previously. And we, in South Australia, as we've sort of been going around to other states and talking to the Commonwealth about what we've been doing, it's pretty clear that other states have not been able to pull this off. It's a very challenging thing to be able to do, and that we really have sort of broken some ground, I guess, and other states particularly are starting to look at what we're doing and wondering how they might be able to take a similar approach. What we're doing this for the 2018 release will actually also form a key input into the 2018 State of the Environment report, which will be released later this year. And we're working with the EPA here in South Australia at the moment to do that. So what we're seeing here, the trending condition that's reported in these cards, reflects really our capacity to manage our resources. It's the culmination of our legislation, all of our management, all of our investment and our projects. And from that, it helps us to identify opportunities for future management effort and investment, and as I was pointing out before, really starts to identify those gaps in the knowledge around priority assets. So again, that SA Land Covers data that was released by the Minister this morning really came from those report cards we did way back in 2014 and our need to improve that information. So making good strides and more to come. So keep your eyes out for the 2018 release, which we hope to be in about May.
Thanks, Michelle.